Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. Got KC Fred in here. Amazing. And Wally probably be joining in later. But today, man, the movie we're going to review, we got the action movie, The Amateur. So let me go ahead and pull up these slides. But before we jump into the slides, I see you got the KC, you're repping that. So
yeah, we back. We got our win. We on our way. Let's go, KC.
all right.
All right. I see you, amazing. I see you. Come on now. Come on. Where you at? Where you at, jerk?
Hell no. Not no damn case. But all right, jumping into the film, we got the action movie again, The Amateur. I wanted to give KC Fred his KC burn, before we jump into it. But The Amateur is a 2025 American action thriller film directed by James Hawes and written by Ken Nolan and Jerry Spinelli. So the plot on this is when supervisors at the CIA refuse to take action after his wife is killed in a London terrorist attack, a decoder takes matters into his own hands. So directors and producers, directed by, again, James Hawes, produced by Hutch Parker, Dan Wilson, Rami Malek, and Joe B. Michaels. So that's pretty cool that he's acted and helped produce the movie too. So
yeah,
shout out to him. All right, the cast on this one. For the first cast member, we got Rami Malek. I know I probably butchered his name, but as Charlie Heller, a CIA cryptographer and vigilante. Then we had Lawrence Fishburne as Robert, Hendo Henderson, Charlie's handler, Rachel Brosnahan as Sarah Heller, Charlie's wife, Cara Tirona as Belief, and Quilly, definitely butchered that one, Davies, Charlie's anonymous contact, Michael Schulberg as Horst Schiller, this criminal responsible for killing Charlie's wife, and then Holt McClany as CIA Special Activities Center Director, Julianne Nicholson as CIA Director Shannon O'Brien, and Danny Spanini as Caleb Horowitz, a CIA Supervisor. So, all right, before we jump into the ratings, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this trailer. Give me 1 second.
You ever wonder what they do with all the stuff you dig up for them?
That's not my job.
No, but you never wonder?
No, it's the CIA. I gotta trust that they'll make the right call. Maybe it's better not to know.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Charlie, I think you need to see this.
What is this?
Your wife has been killed. What you do is very important to what we do. Let us handle this.
I want mission-specific training, cash, and a new identity.
Have you lost your mind?
I want to find and kill the people who murdered my wife.
I don't think you could beat a 90-year-old nun in an arm wrestling match.
I want to face my wife's killers, look them in the eyes, and balance the scales.
Take it. Take it. Point it at my chest. Do it now. Put your finger on the trigger. You can't do what I do no matter how much I train you. You're just not a killer, Charlie.
You're just a nerdy fellow that works on computers.
What you doing? Just gonna kill you. Do you ever account for the things I'm good at? You held a gun to my wife's head. This is a remote that controls a device that's been decompressing the glass beneath you. You have the wrong person. No, I have exactly the right person.
We got a ping in Rome.
He's in London.
He just got on a bus in Prague.
He practically invented half of our surveillance. Maybe y'all misjudged this individual. This ends here.
You recognize her?
If you jump really fast, you might survive the blast.
Right!
All right. Let me pull up the rating. So we're going with Casey Fred first on this one. What's your rating for this movie?
Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I give it a straight 8.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got it in between excellent and very good. All right. Shout out to you. You was feeling this one.
Oh yeah. Action is my thing.
All right. So amazing. What's your rating for this movie?
I really like this movie as well. I was going with the 7.5.
Okay. Amazing with the very good. Yeah, and I'm gonna give it a 7.3. So I was in very good territory. So all right, let me pull up these questions. So Casey Fred, we're gonna let you go first since you in 8 territory. Tell us why you was feeling it like this.
Oh man, I gave it a solid 8 just because action is my thing. Hey, the movie is called Amateur, but at the end of the day, this guy had an IQ of 170. I mean, the guy is extremely smart. And the simple fact of it is he not only had decoys, which is, I will get into that, especially as far as one of my favorite scenes was that decoy with the disc, to throw off everyone's scent. But there were several things that he was able to do to be able to either pull people out so that way he could reach them, or to be able to get a hold to those killers which needed to be killed, because they killed the one very thing that kept him calm and kept him sane, and that was his wife. You could tell that it was his wife that balanced him. And it was just because that was the love of his life. And it was just like, that's what kept him on the even keel. And once she was gone, and I mean, he used his brain to his fullest capacity. You could tell by his size, he was not that big. But when it came to his brain, you would have thought it was the Hulk, because at the end of the day, he used it to his fullest to be able to all of a sudden kill. And he didn't just kill with a gun.
I see girls bigger than him.
Hey, what did the director said? He said he got some nuns that are 90-year-old that could probably take him out. But it still didn't matter because of the way he killed his people. That was the thing that was incredible and made it really thrilling and exciting. And the simple fact of it is a professional, which would I recommend this movie? I want to keep going. Yes, I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely worth watching. You will eat up all your nachos, which is what I did with jalapenos. Just want to let you know that's one of the best ways to eat them. But it was just like, this could have been at the movie theaters. It could have been everywhere, because at the end of the day, it was worth paying money for, because it caught your attention and all of a sudden it took you on a ride. It took you through the emotions, because everyone has lost somebody. But the simple fact of it is the way she died, that it would not leave his brain, to the point that all of a sudden he kept having visions about her. And it just kept him on this path until he even told everyone, he said, listen, I am not going to rest until these people are captured and these people are taken out, and I want to be the one that does it. And that's where all of a sudden the plot and the storyline really comes in, and it took you on that roller coaster, and you're like, okay, we'll be in the back seat at the movie theater and let's ride and let's see where this goes. So it was very exciting. Some of the scenes that really got me was they thought he was just a nobody. They just thought he was a regular nerd, that he couldn't do anything, and really didn't understand his IQ. But the dude was smart. He all of a sudden had dirt on everyone, and he even brought it to your attention. And then he all of a sudden did his little CSI stuff and brought it to the director and said, hey, this is how they did it. I checked all 360 cameras. Hey, I did all of a sudden a continual zoom, so that way you can literally see the killer's face that killed my wife. His name is Horace. I mean, he went down the list and was meticulous about it. And yet at the same time, they just turned a little eye and was like, yeah, whatever, you know. And it was just like, this was the woman that he loved, that he was willing to give everything for. And so it was just like, no, he couldn't live with that. He could not live with that. And it was incredible to go on this journey. And like I said, he knew that he was going to have to be able to learn fast. He knew how the CIA and all of them were and stuff. So he had to learn quick on the fly. And then, of course, they put Fishburne, Lawrence Fishburne, who was Hendo, on the scene to be able to train him. But they thought, this boy ain't going to do nothing. And then he surprised Hendo and learned everything and then some to be able to all of a sudden pull off what he really needed to pull off. And that was to get to the killers. And like I said, he was willing to go the extra mile with the passports. He was willing to go the extra mile when it came to the learning how to shoot and to be able to even learn, like take, for instance, the handler, that one chick, I can't remember her name offhand, but he was able to go to exactly her location, follow her, and then where she all of a sudden had this allergy with flowers and stuff, knew exactly what type of pollen that would literally get her to try to get his demands and to get his questions answered. Of course, he made the mistake of unlocking that door because he thought that she was going to die, and then she escaped only to get hit by a car. So he didn't really necessarily capture the evidence, but he realized that he was willing to go to any lengths to all of a sudden make it happen. And that's what really got me as far as about this movie. How far are you willing to go? Are you willing to go the extra mile to get where you need to go? And so many times only put, like, people, I think about gas, putting $2 in the tank and they only want to get to A to B. Or are you going to fill up the whole tank and really take a big trip and an adventure? And that's what we were on when it came to this movie. And so I really liked him as an actor. I did like Hindu, because Hindu, like I said, Lawrence Fishburne was the one that taught him, but yet was surprised by him and was at the end kind of rooting for him, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, this was the love of his life. This was his wife. And like I said, and the simple fact of the way she died, and he flat out told, she even said, hey, why don't you go with me? And he's like, oh, I'll go with you on the next one. And then like the phone call was the last phone call that he had with her. And he's like, oh, I got something that's really important. It's on my mind. I'll call you later. Okay. And that was the last time he talked to her, you know, on the face of the earth. And so it just stuck with him and it bugged him. And it just got to him. And those were some of the scenes that it kind of remind me of, like, okay, how far do you remember the last person that you talked to that you really love? What was said, what was unsaid? And would you be willing to be able to, what would you do to be able to get them back, to be able to hear their voice again, to hear them talk again? And if somebody took them out, how far would you be willing to go for justice? And so it just really took you on this journey. And like I said, it was a roller coaster with a lot of action. Hey, man, that's my thing. I love it. Like I said, it caught my attention, even though it was just a little over 2 hours. It wasn't boring. I wasn't yawning or anything. I stayed paying attention because you was trying to see and you was rooting for him. Like, how you going to pull this off? Okay, you got one, but now there's 4 of them. You got to keep coming. Now you got to find out who was behind all of this. And it just took you down this journey. And like I said, it was really good. And what I recommend to everybody, I sure would. Would I change anything? Not really, because at the end of the day, this was his plot. You know, this is his journey, the way he did it. And it was, like I said, he kept people guessing. And when you have an IQ of 170, I'm telling you, he thought outside of the box. And most people would have got caught and never would have got as far as he did. But because of his IQ, he used it as a superpower to be able to get things done and get where he needed to go. And so, like I said, you just found yourself as a fan just rooting for him And you just knew, like, come on, man, I think you can do this. Don't die. You can pull this off, because at the end of the day, you felt for him because you knew this is how he really, truly loved his wife. And he wanted to honor her in this way. So, like I said, I thought it was good. 8, I'm going to leave it with y'all. So,
all right, amazing.
Let's see. I gave it a 7.5. I mean, to several of Fred's point, I thought it just like flowed very well. I thought Charlie's character, I did think it was funny how with everything that happened, it was very like revenge versus
Which one of your dogs got the squeaker?
Sorry, I was trying to get him. It was very revenge versus justice. So in one way, it made you feel like, hey, these guys deserve it, but also like you're also being a murderer at the same time. When he had said, I did think it was interesting when Hindu told him. So when he kind of like, you have Charlie blackmailing the guys in the CIA, basically like, you're gonna help me, otherwise like I'm gonna out you. And I think they pretty much just figure like, well, we can kill him if needed, so like let's just go along with this nonsense. And really they're kind of being set up also like the whole way along to think that they're on top in the beginning and they're not. But I did like the way when Hindu said, and it was showed during the trailer as well, you can't do what I do no matter how much I train you, just because he's just like kind of like this little dorky, super smart guy. And when Hindu has him hold the gun up to him, and Charlie couldn't do it. And I don't think Charlie could have done that to any of those other guys either, but he definitely he could do it in a roundabout way. It just wasn't going to be like that direct impact. So like it made me think like, I know that like I couldn't just point blank shoot somebody, but then I was like, but I probably could like throw a radio in their bathtub. You know what I mean? Like kind of the same thing, but not. So that's kind of how Charlie reminded me. Let's see. I think Charlie's character
Hold on, you said a radio in somebody's bathtub? I was just thinking about that. I'm like, that's some senator's shit. Yeah, I think it'd be easier to pull the trigger. You also like
he loves horror films.
Weirdo. Weirdo. Go ahead.
So I think they could have developed some of the characters a little bit more. So like even let's see, Davy's character, I think that was the lady that kind of took over for her husband. I kind of would have liked just to see maybe her character developed a little more so. Let's see. I did also just think it was interesting the way it made me think of one time. I don't know if you guys have ever taken like personality testing or anything like that before, but I've had to do it for work several times. And we do like these classes on it, and the person that teaches the class, it was interesting because somebody had said like theirs had done like a total change, and during the training they said that normally only happens like people's personality normally only does like a 360 type change if something like very significant happens in their life, which in this case would have been obviously him seeing his wife be murdered for him just to kind of do that whole change. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Let's see, performances that stuck out. I mean, going back to kind of like Wateresh, I thought the scene where he had it planned out for the pool, the glass bottom pool to kind of like shatter. I was like, oh, now that was sinister, but I thought I like that scene. I thought it was like just very, just like very thoughtful and strategic in his thinking on that one. So I like that as well. If I was the director, what would I do differently? Honestly, probably just do some more background on the characters, but I know it was also, like Fred said, 2 hours long. So I'm not sure how much time you would have had for that, but I just feel like some of the characters could have been developed a little bit more.
You're gonna develop a whole nother movie. You want more development?
I could do Fred and say we can make this little mini series.
Yeah, but all right, let me go ahead and give my background. So, what was my rating? I gave it a 7.3. And why I give it that rating? I thought it was a very good movie. I like how, like you guys said, it flowed well all the way through. And I like in this movie, one thing that I appreciated was the fact that I think in a lot of these like CIA movies where the person, they train him up and then all of a sudden he's like a expert marksman. You know, they could kill everybody in like a weeks of training and stuff. So I like the fact that they trained him a little bit and he was still just like whack. Because when he went on the missions at first, he was like the one scene Fred was talking about where he did the pollen, which was pretty clever, but he let that woman out and she commenced to whooping his ass. She was like slamming him around that whole. And so it just showed like how many flaws he had and how much like reluctance he had until he went to what he knew was like engineering, all that type of stuff. And that's when, you know, he kind of became a beast. So I like how they did that. They're like, look, okay, we'll give him some training. He did his training and he was just like terrible. So I like how they did that whole, you know, sequence. Cause what was the Marky Mark one with Holly Berry where like they trained him, now he's just, you know, annihilating people. So like I said, I like the fact that he was just still terrible after the training, but he went to what he knew, like being smart. So I think sometimes, you know, they have all the fight scenes. So I like how they're just like, you know what, just make him more or less like creative with the way he kind of takes people out. So I definitely like that. So that pool scene I thought was tough, but what kind of made me laugh about that scene, like the guy in the pool was talking entirely too much. Cause as soon as he was like, yeah, I put bombs in this pool, I would have been turning to Michael Phelps. My man was like underwater, stroking. I would have been like Olympic swimmer. I would have been breaking some records or something in there. But yeah, but so my man was just like swimming all casually, like he was scuba diving or something. But I love that scene though, just how that pool was. So yeah, I like how he did that. Then another scene that kind of stuck out was the one when the Russian handler, what was her name? Davies. She was like, I just want to be held. Then my man, you know, he was just all gentle. She would have turned around. I would have been butt naked in some Timbs. She was like, I just want to be held, you perv. What are you doing? So, yeah, I think he missed the opportunity on that. I wish they would have like just had her get shot or something like that. Then maybe he thought she was dead, but she, you know, she could appear in like a part 2. But the way that they killed her, that was pretty sad. I was like, damn, man. You know, so I thought they should have kept her along. If I had to change something, I definitely would have done that. But other than that, I would have changed anything else in the movie because, like I said, I like the way how it just flowed. And I like kind of like what Fred said, he had to use his intelligence at the end because he's like, look, I can't kill nobody with some guns, so that ain't happening. So he's like, let me get creative with this this other stuff. So like I said, he stepped into his realm of like knowledge and all that. So yeah, man, I like that. And then also I'll say the main actor, I forgot his name again, but I know he plays in that TV show with, I think it's Robot or something. But just even, you know, when they showed the scene where his wife was getting captured, man, he deserved like a, what is it, an Emmy or a Grammy? I don't want to, I know one of them's for music or something, but you could see the pain in his face where he was just like, you could tell his whole world was like turned upside down. So he did a good job just even showing those expressions. Cause you know, most of the time people just, it's a little corny, you know, when people be acting because like I said, I don't think they do a good job at showing those different type of emotions. But the way he was like capturing that, I was like, damn, he's a great actor just for that range. And then Lawrence Fishburne, I definitely like this character too, but my man was like the Terminator in this piece. He just popped up everywhere. I was like, damn, this Negro he can't shake him. Where for nothing, he was just popping up everywhere. So I was like, okay, yeah, my man must have had a tracker or something. But yeah, Lawrence Fishburne was determined in this movie. So yeah, I like how the cast of characters, like I said, they all didn't connect because I also like the guy that he kind of came in that Russian bar He was in what's the one movie we just watched where his brother was they're both like assassins. Forgot it. I always forget his name. But I wish he would have had a bigger role in the whole film and stuff like that because he's a very good actor too. But I like how they kind of minimize him because I thought he was going to come and do something else. So they threw some kind of like, I'll say obstacles in the movie to kind of throw you off. But other than that, I like the way it flowed. So definitely a good movie, man. I like the plot too. But all right, we'll get to the next one. Anybody want to change their rating, go up, go down? So Casey Fred, you already at 8.
Nah, I'm gonna leave it right there at 8, man. Because like I said, action movies, hey, that's my thing. So I thought it did very well, and it's one of those I would definitely. I mean, the movie was good enough where not only would I recommend it to somebody, but I actually would watch it again. So I mean, that's where I'm at with that. So I thought it was really good.
All right, amazing. What about you? Up, down, staying the same?
I'll say the same.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go up a little, not too much. I can't put it at the 8, but I'll move it up to 7.5. So we got Wally in the building. Wally, we was just finishing up our last rating. If we go bump it up, but since you're here, what was your rating for this one? I'll give you a recap. Mine's was a 7.3.
Wait, let him go first. Don't try to sway him. You always do this.
All right, Wally, what's your rating? Wally.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. So what's your rating on this?
Yeah, I'm guessing as fast as y'all already done with this, that just tells me that this was very stationary movie to all of you. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty much copy and paste in some form fast. It was okay. I think it was. I'd give it an okay 7.
Okay. So Wally gave it a 7. He's in between good and very good. So just to give you a recap real quick, Raleigh, I wanted to give you the recap first. I gave it a 7.3, but I boosted it up to 7.5 because there were some good scenes that I didn't think about. Mason gave it a 7.5 and Casey Fred gave it an 8. But go ahead. Why'd you give it a 7, Wally?
For me, it's just like I said. I think the movie, in most cases, the movie was somewhat stationary. Like it's always, it starts off nice and lovely. You go to work, you do what you do. Next thing you know, the tragedy happens. Oh my God, yeah, your wife. Sorry to say this, but she passed away. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, here we always go. The simple tropes. That's how we start off. Then it's like, okay, now you're trying to get revenge. The way you're getting your revenge is like pretty much stationary as much as anybody else. But then it's like, okay, at least with this one, it's a little bit more witty because the way how he's doing it is like it's a little bit more. He's doing it in a more smart, conveying way versus the typical like straight up aggressive way. So that's like that. That's like the spin twist to it. So I mean, that's pretty much the only smart difference in my opinion. But overall, pretty much, it was pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting. I think definitely the movie was just like it. I ain't gonna lie. Like the beginning was slow for me. Is like, granted, I know it's gonna be slow because how they're trying to set it up, but just for what it is like I really didn't really pay attention to it until like we really start touching on some stuff. Like once like they start getting into it, that's when I'm like, all right, now I'm waking up. I'm like, oh, the action finally here. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, okay, yeah, keep going. Like literally, like one of the first very moments I think when he tracked down one of the women, and he was able to have a conversation with her where he had her locked up in a chamber, and he started putting a certain type of gas powder in there, where it was pretty much letting her choke up. I'm like, okay, that was actually pretty interesting. But the thing about it is he's too contradicting as a vigilante in a sense, because the fact of it is he just couldn't muster really actually hurting anyone. Or sort of contradict his whole mission because like You're trying to hurt people that hurt your own wife. It's like pick a side, get it done. But he's a pacifist. He don't really goes into the ideas of actually physically hurting anyone. But yeah.
So you were saying he was soft?
No, I'm saying he had a contradiction of action.
What's all that wordiness for being soft? Just say he's soft, Wally. No.
I mean, you can definitely say he was sort of soft. Yeah, you can say he was green around the gills for sure. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, think about it, because when you look at the action that he took without, like, quote unquote, just being straight up aggressive, he still did it in a way that was just like sickening. Like, okay, you're talking about when he found he found the other guy, right? And he had him at the box. I'm like, you still had him at an explosive. Like, you literally told them, hey, look, you have a chance of living. All you have to do is just simply jump far enough by the time this explode, and you may live. I'm like, all right, the chance of that is like literally 0 to none.
Yeah, he did get kind of dark towards the end. He started getting a little bit of swag.
Yeah, so I'm like, now you start seeing the whole playbook. It's like he literally walked down everything. So I'm like, okay, yeah, he played this very smart. That was one thing for sure. He had it all textbook played out, everything else. I'm like, the so-called amateur ain't really that much of an amateur from a textbook standpoint, as far as, from the gadgets and gadgets and, from the technological aspect. But other than that, he's definitely a amateur in pro action. I mean, one of the things too, shout out to Fisherman, Fisherman, well, not Fisherman, but what's the
Fishburne?
Yeah, Fishburne, yeah. Shout out to Fishburne. So when his character, you thought his character at the time actually died, but not the case, right? He just took a nice wound shot and he took a dirt nap for the moment. And eventually he popped up again, like, hey, you did well. I'll be
that Negro was like the Terminator.
Yep, but
all right. So Wally gave it a 7. I had the 7.5, amazing 7.5, and Casey Fred a solid 8. So y'all definitely check this one out. Let us know if we off base, how y'all felt. But keep tuning in. Peace.
Peace.